Hello everyone, myself Dr. Jyoti Gangude, uh, Assistant Professor of Zoology. So again I am going to teach you the subject that is General Pathology, paper that is 6, ZY 336, and today we are going to start the next chapter, that is Clinical Pathology. In that we are going to discuss regarding the topic that is definition and scope and gastric analysis. Now first we discuss regarding the introduction of clinical pathology. So here the clinical pathology supports the diagnosis of disease using laboratory testing of blood and other body fluids. The body fluids such as cerebrospinal fluid, saliva, semen, vaginal secretion, lymphatic fluid, endolymph, perilymph, cerumen or earwax, amniotic fluid, exudates, nasal mucus, pericardial fluid, urine, vomit, etc. The tissues and microscopic evaluation of individual cells. Now, many board certified veterinary clinical pathologists and technologists provide laboratory results in a timely, efficient and full manner in a diagnosis and treatment of many animal species. Clinical pathology covers a wide range of laboratory functions and is concerned with the diagnosis, treatment and prevention of disease. Clinical pathologists are doctors with special training who often direct all of the special divisions of the laboratory, which may include the blood bank, clinical chemistry and biology, toxicology, hematology, immunology and serology as well as microbiology. So, the clinical pathology also involves maintenance of information of informative system, research and quality control. Now, this is what about the general introduction regarding the clinical pathology. Now, we discuss here the definition and scope of clinical pathology. So, the clinical pathology is defined as it is a medical specialty that concerns with the diagnosis of disease based on the laboratory analysis of bodily fluids such as blood, urine and tissues, homogenates or extracts using the tools of chemistry, microbiology, hematology and molecular pathology. So, this specialty requires a medical residency and should not be confused with biomedical science, which is not necessarily related to medicine. Now, this is what about the definition of clinical pathology. So, here pathology means it is the study of disease and therefore forms a central part of medicine. A sound knowledge of the pathology of a disease allows the clinician to understand its symptoms and signs, potential complications, the basis of its treatment and its likely course. Now, come to the next, that is scope of clinical pathology. So, the clinical pathology is a medical specialty that is concerned with the diagnosis of disease based on the laboratory analysis of bodily fluids such as blood, urine as well as tissues using the tools of chemistry, clinical microbiology, hematology and molecular pathology. So, we can see the scope, that is the scope in the hepatology, scope in the molecular pathology as well as oral maxillofacial pathology. So, first come to the hematopathology. So, hematopathology is the study of diseases of blood cells. Such a diseases including constituents such as white blood cells, red blood cells or platelets, or what we say is that RBCs, WBCs and platelets. Here, along with the blood cell, we are going to study the tissues and organs which consisting of the hemopoietic system. You know the hemopoietic stem cells, hemopoietic system. So, the term hemopoietic system refers to tissues and organs that produce and are primarily host hematopoietic cells and includes bone marrow, the lymph nodes, thymus, spleen, and other lymphoid tissues. The hematopathologist reviews biopsies of lymph nodes, bone marrows, and other tissues involved by an infiltrate of cells of the hematopoietic system. In addition, the hematopathologist may be in charge of flow cytometry and molecular hematopathology studies. Now, this is what the scope, the second scope, that is molecular pathology. The molecular pathology is focused upon the study and diagnosis of disease through the examination of molecules within organs, tissues, or bodily fluids. Molecular pathology is multidisciplinary by nature and shares some aspects of practice with both, that is anatomic pathology as well as clinical pathology. Again, molecular biology, biochemistry, proteomics and genetics. So, it is often applied in a context that it is as much as scientific as directly medical and encompasses the development of molecular and genetic approaches to the diagnosis and classification of human diseases. The design and validation of predictive biomarkers for treatment response and again disease progression and the susceptibility of individual of different genetic constitution to particular disorders. Now, the crossover between molecular pathology and epidemiology is represented by a related field, molecular pathological epidemiology. Then, molecular pathology is commonly used in diagnosis of cancer and infectious diseases. Techniques are numerous but include quantitative polymerase chain reaction, that is what we say that PCR, then multiplex PCR, DNA microarray, in situ hybridization, DNA sequencing, antibody-based immunofluorescence tissue assay, molecular proliferation of pathogens and analysis of bacterial genes for antimicrobial resistance. Now, this is what about the scope of molecular pathology. Now, here the last, that is oral and maxillofacial pathology. So, oral and maxillofacial pathology is one of 9 dental specialists organized by the American Dental Association and is sometimes considered a specialty of both, that is dentistry and pathology. The specialty focuses on the diagnosis, clinical management and investigation of diseases that affect the oral cavity and surrounding maxillofacial structures, including but not limited to odontogenetic infections, epithelial, salivary gland, bone and soft tissue pathologies. It also significantly intersects with the field of dental pathology. Now, this is what regarding the scope of oral and maxillofacial pathology. Now, this is what about the general introduction, definition and scope of general pathology. So, the pathology which includes different kind of analysis, blood and including the body. Now, we can see such a fluids one by one. So, one of the body fluid, that is gastric juice, and for that we have to perform the gastric analysis. So, the gastric analysis here, the digestion of food stuff in the stomach which is due to the action of gastric juice that contains pepsin that acts on proteins under acidic medium of hydrochloric acid and coding enzyme renin. Here the gastric lipase that acts in acidic medium has least importance concerned with diagnosis of lipids. The gastric analysis denotes an examination of gastric contents at various stages of digestion. The results of such an analysis are influenced by many intragastric factors and need to be interpreted only in the need of clinical findings. The gastric analysis, which is a method to measure secretion of hydrochloric acid under basal, that is what we say that basal, and augmented, that is stimulated condition. So we have to examine such a gastric analysis for the amount of hydrochloric acid it is in the range that is the basal or either augmented condition. Now the examination of the contents of the stomach is primarily to determine the quality of acid present and incidentally to ascertain the presence of blood, bile, bacteria and abnormal cells. It may also be done to detect acid-fast bacillus in a client with undiagnosed tuberculosis. Now, a sample of gastric secretion is obtained via a nasogastric tube. So, we are going to collect the sample by inserting the nasogastric tube through the mouth. So, here or either through the nose region, we can also focus on the diagram so you clarify the picture. So, a sample of gastric secretion is obtained via nasogastric tube. The technique used varies according to the information desired. The total absence of hydrochloric acid is diagnostic of pernicious anemia. Patients with gastric ulcer and gastric cancer may secrete less acid than normal, whereas patients with duodenal ulcer secrete more. The composition and volume of the secretion may also provide diagnostic information. Now, we come to the sampling of gastric content. How to sample the gastric content? So, the gastric fluid is obtained by aspiration through tube. So, there are many tubes in the market, of which nasogastric tube, again Swire tube, Levin tube, refuse tube or Rice tube, again which may be used in comparison to nasogastric tube. So, if the patient is neurotic, that is what we say that mentally retarded, or has marked pharyngeal hyperesthesia, spray the fauces and nostrils with 2% solution of cocaine hydrochloride. The head of patient tilts slightly forward and clothing protected with towels. Place the tip of the tube on the tongue, held wheel out and pass it back to the throat, or introduce the tube along the floor of nose until it is left that the top turns down into the pharynx. Then the patient is encouraged to swallow quickly until the tube is passed into the desired length of gastric canal. Now, this is what about the sampling of gastric content. Now, come to the procedure. So, here you can focus on this diagram. Here, nasogastric tube and it is reached up to the stomach. Now, the procedure is like that. The patient may advise to get meal 12 hours before the gastric examination. Means before the examination, patient should take the meal at least 12 hours before. Now, the teeth should not be brushed on the day of examination to exclude many possibilities of swallowing blood. A gastroduodenal tube is inserted to a point that is 56 cm from lips. Extract all the contents and after quantification save it for examination. Now, administer the meal with tube in situ, that is an extraction of, that is providing the meal. An extraction of 10 ml of sample should then be repeated every 15 minutes till 2 hours from period of ingestion of meal. So, if the earlier samples shows absence of free HCl, a standard amount of histamine is injected subcutaneously in a dose of 0.1 mg per 10 kg of body weight and samples subsequently withdrawn are then tested for free HCl. Now, in this procedure, here mention the meal, that is here for such a patient we have to provide the test meal. The test meal such as the first test meal such as the evolved meal, which consists of 1 roll or 2 slices of plain or toasted with bread weighing about 35 gram with 300 to 400 ml of water. This is one kind of meal, that is evolved meal. Then the second kind of meal, that is Boas meal. Boas meal, which consists of oatmeal boiled in 800 ml of water until the volume is reduced to 400 ml. This is second type of test meal. The third type of test meal, that is Erman alcohol meal. So, which consists of 50 ml of 7% solution of ethyl alcohol. So, we have to provide the test meal before we have take the sample from the stomach. So, this is what all about the procedure of gastric analysis. Now, the next point, that is examination, chemical analysis. All these points we are discussing in next lecture. So, thank you.